Student loans are not interest-free. Following changes brought in September 2012, you'll pay an interest rate during your studies of the rate of inflation plus 3%. For the year March 2014 to 2015, this equates to 5.5% interest on the student loan. However, when you begin repaying your loan and how much the interest rate will vary after you graduate depends on the income that you earn. For more information, you may access the Student Loan Company website at www.slc.co.uk. The straightforward answer to this question is yes. Your credit history is what companies who are considering whether to lend to you or not will access in order to determine whether they should lend you that money. Companies who are wanting to lend you money are looking for customers who are going to be potentially profitable. Therefore, the most profitable customers are those who are always in debt. Now, this doesn't mean that you are struggling financially. No, this means that you can show by your credit history that you are a responsible borrower. That means that you borrow the money and you repay it within the agreed terms, so you have no missed payments. It can be a challenge to get your credit history built up through time, because without a credit history it can be quite hard to get credit. However, you can help yourself by putting your name on the electoral roll and making payments towards your mobile phone, your energy bills, staying within an authorised overdraft on your bank account. These are all different forms of credit that will help your credit history. It will affect your credit rating. However, how it will affect your credit rating really depends on the company looking at your credit history. Some companies will see that you have an overdraft facility, but that you're not really using it, in the sense that you're not repaying it every month, and that may go against you. However, other companies may consider that you're a student and therefore it's understandable why you would be using all of your overdraft and not repaying it monthly. So the answer to this question really is, it depends who is looking at your credit history and how they interpret it. But the most important point to consider is that you should never, ever go over an authorised overdraft limit. To do so will incur very costly interest rates, and this will show up as a default on your credit history, which will go against you in the vast majority of cases if you're looking to borrow money from lenders. The increased flexibility that online banking offers in this day and age makes it a very attractive option. In terms of safety, there are steps that you can take to increase your safety to such an extent that it's really no different than banking in a regular bank. The first thing to do is to make sure that your password and any information used to access your account, so security questions for example, that you keep all of these private and personal. Just as you wouldn't share your PIN number with anybody else, that is how to optimize your safety. The second is make sure that when you're accessing your online accounts for banking that you always use a secure website. It's easy to tell this because the letters HTTPS appear at the beginning of the web address. And thirdly, make sure that your firewall and antivirus software on your computer is up to date. Do those three things and online banking will be as safe as possible. If you have become a victim of fraud, the first point of contact would be your bank's fraud prevention team. Most major banks have these in place, as your bank is just as concerned as you are about safety and fraudulent activity and preventing it. In most cases, if the fraud has been caused in a manner that's not your fault, it's very likely that your bank will recompensate you any money that you've lost. The answer here is an emphatic no. The first thing to consider when wanting to borrow money is, why are you wanting to borrow money? Is this really a priority, pressing need, or is it something that if you cut back on your spending a little bit, you could save through time and buy this with your own money without having to incur the often high interest rates that go with borrowing money? Secondly, there are many alternatives to borrowing money. You may consider asking your bank to extend the limit on your authorised overdraft. Of course, there will be interest rates. It will cost you money to do this, but far less than payday loans. Another option is to consider borrowing from friends or family. Again, you may consider approaching a credit union. Another option would be to get yourself a credit card that has a lower interest rate. The thing with payday loans is that the interest rate they charge over 1 month means that it costs you more to borrow that money for 1 month than it does to have a credit card for a whole year. The rates are extortionate, and it should be a very, very, very last resort, if at all.